What's up, y'all? My name is Dumptruck, and I am really excited for this. Welcome to another series of Chasing the Ride with Rider Justice. I am joined by Scott O'Sullivan of the O'Sullivan Law Firm and founder of Rider Justice, and a bad bee right here to my left. This is Miss Susan Dane, and she is a part of Coloradans for responsible driving. And if you ride a motorcycle out in the world, you know exactly how those big cages can affect your day. And I'm really excited to see what we're going to learn. You guys have known each other for a while now.
Yeah, I was trying to think of that. Do we meet before Cord or after?
I think we did.
Yeah.
What's
probably?
Cord?
That's what you just said.
The organization. Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
And I was trying to think of it was whether probably through Biker Down or something. I'm just trying to remember.
I'm sure at events.
Yeah, certain events, and then and then we became brothers and sisters in arms, trying to get some stuff done that I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit. But one of the things that's interesting to me, before we get into like all the amazing stuff you've done, is tell me about your riding and when you started riding and where you started riding and all that kind of stuff.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
So in 2008, me and a girlfriend walked into the Piper Inn on a Friday night.
Yeah.
And as we were walking in, I jokingly said, I'm going to pick me out a biker dude, because there were bikes in the parking lot everywhere.
Yeah.
It was August. And so she and I went in there and had their famous wings. And there was a gentleman sitting at the table next to us, very apparently a rider.
Yeah.
So he started chatting us up, and I started flirting a little bit, and I gave him my business card with my home number on it. And I, as we were leaving, I said, it was nice talking with you, and I need to know what I need to do to make sure I run into you again.
Yeah.
And so as we walked out, my friend was like, wow, that was quite the line. It's like, yeah, I know, I don't know where that came from. So he called that weekend, and we dated for about a month. And
you traded him in for a Harley.
Well, pretty much I did, yeah. Every date was on the bike. He had a Road King, and so I fell in love with the riding. And so when we broke up, I was like, well, I wonder if I can figure out how to do that on my own and not have to wait for some guy to come ask me to get on the back seat. So me and a coworker took the class together, and a week later I went out and bought my first motorcycle, which just so happened to be a Harley.
Nice.
So that's how I got into riding, and that was in 2008.
Yeah. What was the bike?
It was a 883 Sportster.
What year?
2004, I think.
Used, of course, used.
Yes. Oh, yeah. It was my practice bike because it's I need to make sure I'm comfortable before I buy a nice bike that I'm okay dropping it and all that. So, but it was bright yellow, so it was really easy to see in the parking lot when we went out to our bikes, and I named it Stinger. So
named it what?
Stinger.
I like it. That's good.
Because Bumblebee was already taken.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
That's right.
I had that one for 3 or 4 years, and then walked into Rocky Mountain Harley-Davidson, and they had a Fat Boy Anniversary Edition 2003 sitting on and I didn't even ride. I just I gotta have that bike.
Yeah.
And so I upgraded to the Fat Boy.
Yeah.
Had that for several years, and now I'm on a Deluxe, a 2015 Deluxe.
Which one was the white one? Don't you have a white one?
No.
You don't have a white one?
No, but
I'm making that up.
Yeah.
It's a really popular color.
I want a white one because I have white chaps.
Yeah, that's what maybe it's the white chaps.
Yeah, it's the white chaps.
Yeah.
But the Fat Boy I named Chubbs.
All right.
And then the Deluxe right now I bought during COVID, and I remember somebody, when I took the Fat Boy in to get an oil change, and this Deluxe was sitting on the showroom floor, and I was just like, oh my God, I love that bike, and I've always loved the Deluxe.
Yeah.
And so somebody said, looking back on everything that's going on in this crazy world, if you could afford to do it, I would do it. And so I rode that bike home, and I traded the Deluxe in, and I felt like such a traitor, or the Fat Boy, I felt like a traitor. But because I like the Fat Boy. It fit me, and I enjoyed riding it. But the Deluxe I just fell in love with, and so I named the Deluxe Joyride. So that's her name.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
So,
whenever you do go out for rides, are you more of a Colorado rider, or do you go distance? Like, what's your jam?
I did a trip one time when Harley did that 18 dealership passport book thing.
Yep.
I actually went up through Wyoming, Utah, and back down to southern Colorado. It was a 3-night trip on my own.
Nice.
And that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Very
Solo
therapeutic.
trips are great.
Oh my God, it was so therapeutic. Yeah.
And you've done a lot of the kind of where the hog chapters go around in the state.
Yeah, you're a life member, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
The bling tells me.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, you start with the bike, first it's a boy and you want the bike, and then screw the boy, and I don't mean that really.
Or don't.
And then,
Don't get your own bike.
Don't get your own bike. And that starts a new community for you? Is this?
Oh, the people that I've met. Yes.
Yeah.
That's been the most valuable part of getting into the motorcycle world is the friends that I've made, and I met my current husband Eddie through the bike too.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing about that was when I first got the bike in Rocky Mountain Harley-Davidson, that hog chapter is what the one we were members of.
Yeah.
I remember saying to Eddie, it's like, well, I have a problem now. And he's like, what's that? And I said, well, I ride a motorcycle. I need to date somebody that rides a motorcycle because that's what I'm going to be spending all my time doing.
Yeah.
I don't want to start dating in the chapter because that
that's a good
reputation.
point.
Yeah.
That's right.
Don't drop it where you eat.
I mean, you are smexy. Camera on the thing there.
What Eddie told me was I was going to have to lower my standards. So I did, and several years later we got married. So the joke was on him for that.
It's amazing, like how everything for you changes when you start like opening yourself up to being in the riding community. When I first started riding, my first bike was an 883, 89 4-speed. Still have it, and I didn't know anything about bikes. I didn't know anything about the community. I got introduced to it, and then if you were my friend before and you didn't have a motorcycle, you were my friend before.
Right.
Like you're no longer like we don't hang anymore because you do that whole not motorcycle thing. Like it becomes all about it. And that's what I tell people when they start to like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go get my helmet. I'm gonna take a safety course. I'm gonna get out there and start riding. I was like, are any of your friends doing it with you? And they're like, no. I was like, get ready for some new people to come in.
right. New family.
Everything, absolutely.
Yeah.
Everything changes, and to me for the better.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing I've noticed too, as our group has gotten older, some people, we're graduating to trikes, which that's going to be the next step if we don't want to give up the riding.
Yeah.
But we've even had a few that have given up riding, and they still are part of our family.
Right,
I mean,
absolutely.
It's a lifetime thing.
Yeah.
Because they get it.
Then they graduate to a convertible.
Yeah.
Or devolve into a convertible. Maybe it's devolve.
Definitely.
They buy a boat. Like I don't really know how that works.
Yeah.
This is going to be blasphemy, especially here, and there's a giant trike behind us. I always thought it seemed to make more sense instead of trike to go to like a Can-Am with the two wheels in the front and the one in the back.
We're gonna fight.
I know, that's why I said it's gonna.
Are they harder to steer?
It's gonna be a problem.
They are terrible.
Are they terrible?
It
just looks like with trikes, it's just like I don't know. Sorry, trike people.
It's literally like riding a snowmobile. Like
that makes sense.
They turn terrible.
Yeah.
I would think
Terrible.
you're fighting.
And don't forget. People can see you on those things.
That is true.
I don't
that
care
is a good point.
what
that is a
the
good point.
DMV says. That thing is not a motorcycle, bro. Stop it. Two wheels behind you if you got to go on
That's
three.
right.
Or learn how to ride one with two.
Yeah. All right, there's the first most controversial thing I've said this whole time. That's right. I just got canceled.
We're going to talk after this.
So, community, I know the story well, but these folks don't, and Dumptruck doesn't know.
I'm here to learn.
Yeah, so, tell us how you started to get into the activism side of it.
Sure. Back in 2000, I think it was 16, Brian and Jackie Leonard, which were Douglas County chapter members, and at that time we were Douglas County chapter hog members, were riding their motorcycle coming up, I think from the Springs on 83? 83 Parker Road. So they were coming north and they hit the Russellville Road curve right south of Franktown, and there was a woman driving a car that had her phone in her hand reading a text message or email message, didn't make the curve, crossed the double yellow lines and hit him and killed him instantly, basically. So a group of us got together and we actually overflowed their courthouse for her sentencing. We had like 130 people show up for her sentencing, and she got 2 10-year consecutive sentences, 10 years for each life that she took.
And that's rare, right? I mean, we'll talk about
that
later.
Very rare,
So that's our next project, I think.
Well, thank God for George Brockler, because he was the DA that was the prosecuting attorney in the case. And so after she got sentenced, several of us, like 5 or 6 of us from that chapter, went to talk to George, because we found out that the penalties for texting while driving was $50. And it's like, that's not going to disincent anybody from doing it.
At all.
Yeah.
It's $1,000 to litter. So, I mean,
Right.
the equity there didn't seem like it was quite right.
Yeah.
So George met with us and he's like, well, you can either go through the legislature or you can try to get it on the ballot. And we said, well, what do you recommend? And he said, well, I would start with the legislature and see if you can do it that way. So we formed Coloradans Organized for Responsible Driving, which is CORD.
Yeah.
And my job on that board was to research what other states had done, plagiarize some bills, come up with something that we could present to a legislator to see if they could be supportive and get the bill filed. So as I was doing this research, I got on this email alert for the state of Colorado for any laws or bills that were related to distracted driving, texting and driving and all that. And I got a hit very quickly that Senator Lois had filed a bill for increasing the penalties while texting while driving.
Yeah.
So we showed up unannounced. You were there.
I was there.
Yeah. So we show up unannounced to this first committee hearing. And some of us were in biker garb, so it was very apparent that we were a biker group. And sat down, we all signed up to testify, and Senator Court was super nervous because she thought for sure we were going to be against it because bikers don't want helmet laws, we don't want more laws, we want less law, we want choice.
Yeah.
So as she's presenting the law, we get up to testify, and she's shocked that we're supporting this, all of us. And so we all testified, and the committee, when they were going to make their final vote on it, they wanted to negotiate a little bit, which happens all the time in the legislature. And so Senator Court asked for a 5-minute recess, and she goes, I need to confer with my people. So she came back and talked to us and asked us.
She was the best.
Oh my God.
The best. I don't mean was. She is the best.
Yeah, she is the best.
I see her around all the time where I live.
Yes,
so
I love her to
awesome.
death, yeah. So she conferred with us, and we said, well, whatever we could do to keep the bill alive. And so we agreed to work on the wording and negotiate some things. And we were able to successfully get that bill passed that year. And Governor Hickenlooper signed that one into law. And it raised the penalties for texting while driving. We then went back the next year to try to do the hands-free route.
Yeah.
And we got
Get them
killed.
completely out of their hands.
Yeah.
No more driving.
No
with
more
the
phone in your hand when you're driving, basically. You can do hands-free, but you just can't have your phone in your hand or up to your ear. And we got killed at the first committee hearing.
Yeah.
So we went back several times. We never seemed to, other than that first year, we never seemed to have an issue in the Senate. On the Senate side, we'd get through the Senate, but then we'd get over to the House side, and that's where the challenge was.
Yeah, there's one particular person, you know who you are, it super pissed me off most of the time.
Yeah.
Who is it?
We may have something we need to pass again in another day that she finally got on our side, but it took years.
I was this close.
Yeah, you were pretty close. I've said
we
said it in private. I'll tell you later. But
we got to that last committee.
Yes.
And it was taken off the agenda like the last day of session or whatever, intentionally, and not put back on.
Yeah.
And so we died on the calendar that year.
So many years, and it was so frustrating because we would negotiate these things. The Colorado Defense Bar, fuck off. They were so bad about this because you need laws to protect people, and I'm sorry.
That's what they're supposed to be for.
Yeah, and this is how it's supposed to be set up. And I've never been more frustrated in that when one of those early meetings, and they're like, no law, we will pass no laws that can affect anybody. And I'm like, you're out of your goddamn mind. And it's super, I'm like reliving it right now.
I
you and I,
it's warm on this
the frustration,
we've been hot over this stuff. And I get it. There's things that were addressed that we wanted to make sure got addressed, make sure it wasn't being used inappropriately, it wasn't used for racial profiling. 100% that's real, I get it. We addressed those concerns, and yet it was still a no.
Yeah.
We won't even consider it.
So why do you think you get so much pushback on something that would be helpful just because they don't want pushback from other people who don't want to give it up? Like, why is there a big no when it comes to trying to get this through?
The rationale that they gave is they didn't want it
rationale?
to be used. Yeah, rationale, yeah. They didn't want it to be used, and I could say these things, and they yell at me, I don't give a shit, we're using this rationale because of racial profiling, and we were showing statistics that that's not the intent, that is not what it's being used for. We showed over and over with Department of Transportation and CDOT.
How do they get from hands-free to racial profiling?
It's one more reason to pull somebody out.
That's a stretch.
Well, laws have been used improperly for many years. That is 100% accurate. But they were using it as a bludgeon to stop it. without any factual
They had no
basis
data to support it.
it.
We had data to support that.
Taking number two
Yeah.
down.
Actually, Caucasians, proportionately based on the population of Colorado,
Yeah.
were getting cited more for it than any other
Well,
population.
there's a bunch of white people here. What do you expect?
Right, exactly.
Come on.
And one of the things that we're also trying to prove, and we proved through testimony, through my sons put together a group called Students for Safer Roads.
Yeah.
They brought in friends to testify about the disparate impact that it had on different socioeconomic groups, right? When you get hit by somebody distracted driving, and they're driving and they hit your car, that is a much bigger impact for you if you don't have insurance, you don't have the right insurance. That $3,000 could make you homeless.
Yep.
And that's what we were trying to say. And I think that message finally resonated over
Well,
the last
and I know one of the
few
testimonies
years.
Susan, your son, was,
Yeah.
which I never thought about this, but prior to this law,
Yeah.
it was illegal for 18 and under to use their phones in the car.
At all, period.
So, like, what magically when you hit 19, how come now you're automatically you can
Right.
multitask? I mean,
Yeah.
it didn't make any sense.
And one of the things I think, I was proud of them for doing stuff with it too, is like, look, it is all of you people driving around, right? And they're always like, oh, the youths with their phones. And I'm like, you're all addicted. Come on, we all are. Just admit it.
Go to a red light.
Yeah.
Look around. You'll be the only one looking around.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
exactly
Everyone else
right.
is, oh, it's been 45
That
seconds
is-
since I've swiped.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Like-
exactly right. I put it in my pocket, Bluetooth, whatever. There's no reason it should be out. Period.
Well,
It
when
just
I
shouldn't
learned
be.
to drive, cell phones didn't exist. We had
I
one.
remember dial tones.
Yeah, we had.
yeah,
And busy
exactly.
signals, yeah. But
Yeah.
we had one rotary dial phone in the kitchen with a stretched out 30-foot cord on
Heck
it,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
we survived. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Right.
And it's still a little amazing to me that we ever got somewhere a little bit to me now that I think back
With
about
maps
it.
and stuff, yeah.
We've kind of
You
lost
remember
all
the big
sense of
fat
direction.
map book?
And going through the page. What do they call that?
I can't
The
remember.
triptych.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Triptych. Yeah,
I used to use that so much. You go to a new city, where's the big fat book? I don't know where I am.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think one of the things that I know, and I deeply am so impressed by you, is all of the behind the scenes organizing of the kittens, like getting all the people together, making sure they show up. She was like the head of the legislation side of helping us get all together and make sure the testimony was in order, making sure we had the right people to testify. The senators and House members very much relied on you to get that done, and your level of activism and skill was just amazing.
Thank you.
So you sound crazy organized.
I have spreadsheets for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Where did that bug bite you? Because it's obviously working for you. Because that's to get to that point, you have to have someone who is detail oriented,
Yeah.
who is organized. And where did you learn to be organized? Or it was
I think through my day job, because I'm an executive assistant, and I have generally supported CEOs or the C-suite level people,
Yeah.
and that takes detail and
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, you are truly at the executive level of the entire thing. And the dedication and the nonstop persistence was just amazing. And I'm super proud of you.
Oh my God.
And we want to present you with our annual award, Rider Justice Spirit Award, because you are just the best. And you literally are saving lives. Yeah. You don't cry, I'm gonna cry.
No. I have no words. Thank you so much. It
You
means so much.
literally are responsible, starting January 1st, going forward, of saving lives. It started with the texting and driving, and now it's going to be with the hands-free. And I just couldn't be more proud of you.
Thank you.
And for all the hard work we did.
Well, and it started out with just the motorcycle community, and over the years it expanded to disability groups, insurance, AAA, and a lot of the bicycle groups, because they're a vulnerable
Yes.
population also.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, and what was amazing is her also tying in these outside organizations and kind of lobbyists to help us, including General Motors.
The funny story
comes
about
in,
them, General Motors, there was one year, I forget what year it was, I have a spreadsheet that that tracks the progress of this over 8
I
years.
can tell you that. We just
But it was like March, and I get this email out of the blue from the GM lobbyist in Denver.
Yeah.
And she said, GM they're going around and helping the states that don't have hands-free to get this legislation through the legislature. we went, we're at the Capitol and we're asking who do we need to work with to, who spearheads this? Who do we need to work with? And she said, repeatedly, your name came up. So we're like, well, who is this Susan Dane?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So they reached out and I think we got pretty far. That might have been the year that it got taken off the agenda on the last
that first year they got involved.
Because had that not happened, I bet it would have passed that year.
What was so compelling, and beyond helping us with all the statistics and everything else like that, and I'm sorry that I don't remember the gentleman's name. There was the executive at General Motors whose son died from distracted driving, right? And so that's why he made it a priority of General Motors. He
started a foundation,
yeah, and
that's awesome.
Just incredibly compelling. So many just horrible stories, but from it comes, I think, a real chance to make a change, and that's why we're so proud of you.
My next endeavor, might be.
What are you making me do this time?
Yeah, I'm curious about the penalties associated with deaths caused by distracted driving, because they don't seem to be equitable for the loss that's incurred.
Yeah, that's
so I don't know
right.
what the angle is to address that, but
we've talked a bit in the past. We did we passed the vulnerable user bill a number of years ago. I did assist in that behind the scenes, and that increased the penalties. So at least it gave the prosecutor a chance to go to 12 points and take the license away, and if necessary, community service and other things.
Right.
But it's still not right. I mean, I have a case where a husband and wife are on a motorcycle. A guy is FaceTiming his employer and makes a left and kills the husband.
Wow.
And she is terribly hurt because I better not do this, but because
dig.
Go.
Yeah.
Give us that gold, Scott.
Yeah, that's right. Because
know my job here, right?
Yeah.
Stoke that fire.
The coroner's office decided he died of a heart attack from the collision, you dipshit.
Oh my God.
That he didn't get charged on the phone. Didn't get charged. I have now an expert that's going to say the exact opposite, and I'm going to approach the prosecutor and try to change the whole thing. But absolute insanity. It was so obvious. You impacted him, it explodes his heart, and he has a heart attack and dies. He doesn't have a heart attack on the bike and die before the collision.
No.
It's the dumbest rationale I've ever heard.
That's crazy.
And we will destroy that company.
And I love you for that.
Rightfully so.
I really
Wow.
do.
Sorry, I just I'm more fired up again. Sorry.
I'm going to dote on you for a minute. I've been really lucky to be a part of the Rider Justice family for years, and my favorite thing about what Rider Justice is it's really an advocacy group that takes care of the motorcycle community, because there's a lot of other brands out there that offer accident law and like all of that kind of stuff, but that's kind of like where it stops, to know, and obviously to see that you and others like you care enough, give enough fucks to go and fight for us. Like that's the big difference, and that's why I keep sticking around, and that's why this is really cool to see you like honoring other people in your community to do that. And I want to know what people can do to be a part of the solution. Like, what habits could they change? Like, is there a place to donate? Is like, what can people do to start like improving these numbers where we lose less riders?
Put your phone down when you're driving, number one.
That's number one.
It's fine to use it hands-free. It's still legal to use it hands-free. I know people...
How do you feel about hands-free use? Do you feel like that's a solution, though? Or if it's just way better, just don't use your phone unless you're playing music?
Personally, I've got Bluetooth in my car, so when I'm talking on a phone call, my eyes are on the road and my hands are on the wheel.
Yes.
I have missed turns that I was wanting to make because I'm so engaged in that conversation.
That is a thing.
So there's three components to driving safely: cognitive, physical, and visual. And my cognitive, sometimes if I'm engaged in a conversation, it's not 100%.
Yeah.
So even that is a little distractive. Ideally, use your phone for navigation. and that's it. I mean,
Make it a phone when you're done driving again.
well, and the other thing you can do, a lot of the smartphones, I know iPhones for sure, there's a do not disturb feature that you can turn on so that when it engages with your Bluetooth, it will automatically send, if somebody text messages you, it'll send them a text back that says, I'm driving.
Or you're just like me and mine's on do not disturb at all times.
Yeah.
I love it
stop
too,
doing
because
it.
I always say it says notification with silence, which you'd like to notify anyways.
Yeah.
That is literally the dump truck push this button.
Right.
It's like he doesn't want to hear from you. Like, I watch this. So if you have that setting, I don't care.
Yeah, that's right.
Is there like a way that people can be a part of the solution, like being a part of CORD, or is there a certain way that they could pay attention to how to vote for proper people that take care of life? Like, how can they help in that light?
I think, like this podcast, talking about it, keeping the issue at the front of people's minds and awareness, because even before we got the law passed, I was having conversations with people and they're like, since you told me your story and I never really thought about it, now I'm thinking about it and I'm going to think twice before I pick up my phone or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think we want to change behavior is what we want to do.
Yeah, right. And one of the things that concerns me, and this is going to be controversial again too, is I am seeing this, at least in the Denver metro area, and I don't know where you've seen in North Carolina.
Oh,
or
Charlotte. They're blind and mad there. It's crazy.
And what I'm seeing now is it doesn't matter if you're driving a Beater or a Beamer. People are just, the rules don't apply anymore.
They're just not present.
They're also just, that's a red light. I don't give a shit. I'm just running.
It
is just, on the way here this morning, this guy pulls up to me in a 4Runner. We're at a red light in an intersection with trains and all sorts of stuff, and I'm going. And I'm like, what are you doing?
It's anarchy on the
all
road.
have
Don't tell me
basic
what to do.
needs, right? And so
That's a suggestion,
Yeah.
right? It's just a suggestion.
one of the things
nice color.
that I would suggest, that I know this is not whatever, is we do need some more police on the roads actually enforcing these laws that we help pass, so that we have a chance at getting back to basic rules of the road, so that we all, hey, if you speed, whatever, there's different things, but, let's not run stoplights, let's not run stop signs, let's not do crazy shit. Because there's
racing
other
and the
people
weaving.
on the road, it's all crazy. And it doesn't matter who you are and what you're driving, it's all the same.
And most of the bad stuff happens in like a 5-mile radius of where you park your motorcycle.
Right.
So it's
right. That's exactly right.
It is
You're
like that's a
100%
real
right.
thing.
Yeah.
And it almost leads me to believe that there might be room to speak to the local precincts.
Yes.
About how important it is to make sure people are putting their feet down, to make sure that they're not running red lights like that.
Yeah, that's right.
And not use it as a revenue stream, but like really to protect and serve.
Yeah, and I think reaching out to your local council people, reaching out to legislatures, so that I know we're all trying to hire more police officers. I know it's the most thankless job there is, and we really appreciate them in trying to help and serve that way. But just trying our best to get more of them out there,
Right.
And have them help, get back to some sanity, around us. To me, that's one of the ways.
Yeah.
And I think you're exactly right. Talk to the precinct. Or at least say, hey, this area, we noticed this area is a real problem. And we now have all these statistics on my website which is riderjustice.com and also o'sullivanlawfirm.com, but where we're trying to show where the hot spots are. So
I like
we've had that, and we'll show some more stats coming up soon. Because my sense of it is like we were just talking. Hit and runs are up. All these things are up.
People don't stop anymore.
They're not.
either.
They're not stopping. And I want to see.
You have to catch them.
Yeah, that's right. And I want to see if that's true or not. Like I want to, see what this
Statistically, yeah.
actually what it shows, or does it just feel that way? But I think it's going to show that it's that way.
Yeah, and I used to be a lot more comfortable when I first started riding by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much anymore. I'd rather ride in a group because I feel safer in numbers.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, I usually ride to leave now. I use riding a motorcycle is that is my mode of transportation. I didn't have a car for years. I actually sold one to buy a bigger motorcycle. And it's like I don't really feel like it's like that right now.
Yeah.
And granted, I do live in Charlotte, North Carolina, which they do drive blind and angry
and fast.
It's it's Race City, bro. You got NASCAR right there.
I mean, that's a great point.
For real, yeah.
That's a great point.
Like right up the street, 30 minutes in Mooresville is where all the race teams live.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Or at least the East Coast version of them.
And they're all kind of sprinkled through the countryside. They're everywhere, all around that area. It's really
once you're out of Charlotte, though, man, it's
Yeah.
I mean, you're there. You're in it. You're almost in Asheville, the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Yep.
Just getting out, it's like escape from Charlotte.
Seriously, run! Yeah. It's when I land in Charlotte to go up to Winston-Salem to see my son at Wake Forest. At the first time, I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I am going with the flow of traffic, but I'm still 20 miles slower than everybody else, apparently. Like,
before you get in your
just
car, you got to
insane.
practice some Tai Chi. Just, all right, I am present. I am aware.
Everybody ready in the back of the
And
seat?
fight.
Time to drive.
That's right. Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Yeah, and we could definitely use your help with some laws in our state. I know they really don't give a rip about us at all.
Holy cow. That is North Carolina, you need to talk to your legislators because it is terrible. If you have any percentage of fault, any percentage as a plaintiff, even just a motorcycle rider, that's a risk. You lose automatically in that state.
Wow.
It is terrible.
That's another conversation.
I mean, that is
like,
holy cow. North Carolina, handle it. Yeah.
Literally told me not to move to that state for that reason.
Oh.
You're like, I can't help you there.
I can't help you there.
I'm like, well, I mean, I'm kind of like unhelpable in most cases. So like,
That's right.
in my own world.
Woo. Yeah, that is some crazy laws there. Yeah.
So,
Anyway, yeah.
So you said like what's next is really looking at like probably assessing the penalty levels, right?
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be possible or not, but I want to look into that to see because it just doesn't
Well,
seem.
not with that attitude.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's not my normal attitude. I need to build a spreadsheet on it, and then we'll,
Yeah.
But
Well, I think we could start with trying to tweak the vulnerable user bill to up it, right? And it already is at a level that gives the prosecutors a tool, but give them that extra tool.
right.
Or have a kicker for careless, reckless, leading to great bodily harm. Get a kicker for that as well. So it's not just the 6 points.
Right.
Right.
And try to do it that way. I think is, instead of trying to introduce something brand new, some tweaks I think could be done.
I agree.
Kind of like what we did with the hands-free,
Right. Right.
the texting and driving. So I mean, I think that's a good place to think about it and start. We just have to pick. You're going to have to find your legislator, and
Okay.
we'll see. We've lost the ones that were with us, not all of them, but Hanson's gone, and Lois retired, and
Some might be
Fields
cycling out, yeah.
some cycling out. Yeah, so we have to find somebody, I think. But yeah, I think that's one of the ways for sure.
Well, and the whole point of this whole journey was just to make the road safer for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, bottom
for
line.
everybody.
Yeah, for everybody. That's exactly
Because even
right.
in your car, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
exactly
everybody.
right. Yeah. There's nothing worse than watching this in front of you and seeing a person's
looking
got a
at their
hat
lap.
on and it's like this. Yeah, like
Yeah.
what are you doing? I think I saw it was somebody the other day was watching TikTok while driving.
I've literally seen someone reading a book and reading a newspaper
I
while
saw
driving.
somebody reading a magazine.
I think it was like
Yeah.
in Nebraska or something in the middle of
Yeah.
nowhere, and I'm looking at them. I'm like, what?
What?
Did I just see right now?
Exactly.
Like, are you kidding? That's real? Like,
My-
homeboy's driving, got cruise control. He might as well just have an espresso with a twist of lemon. Like,
exactly.
Come on.
Exactly. So one crazy. This is not even distracted driving. I don't even know what you call it. So I'm coming back from up in the mountains in Fairplay, going up 285, and we see behind us by about quarter mile is a Tesla being followed by police with the lights on, and it's not chasing, but something's going on, and we finally get to that spot in Bailey where it goes up and splits into the two lanes. Well, then the Tesla just starts passing us with the cop right behind. He is sound asleep.
And it's on autopilot.
It's on autopilot, and what in the...
I just don't.
what the fuck?
Synapses
Yes.
found each other inside your dumb head that said,
shit.
oh man,
Take a nap.
What a great idea.
What a great idea. I'm going to take a little nap.
Where's that going to happen?
Yeah, that's
I don't know. You wake up and Judgment Day is there in front of you. Like,
Exactly.
That's a thing I hear.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, it was crazy. And I'm sure the police
And they're
officers
trying
are like...
to normalize that kind of stuff right now.
No, that's insane. It's insane.
Absolutely.
There's so many things I have to say about that. And we during our process of trying to get the law passed, I don't know how many years ago this one was, there was a legislator that was like, well, Scott, I have a Tesla. I should be able to do anything. Please, you need to write an exception out. I'm like, no, I will not.
Wow.
And
yeah.
Really?
I actually then contacted.
Entitlement what?
It was a crazy.
No, you bought the car, not the street, bro.
Yeah, exactly. And I ended up, he's like, could you contact some engineers for me? I'm like, yes, I will. And, I contacted these engineering firms, and they're like, oh, no. Like, it is nowhere near actual real driving by itself, autonomous driving.
Yeah.
Yeah, not even close.
They're just now getting there, but they're still not there.
No, and by the way, they are using cameras, not LiDAR, not these other things. So literally, like, when it snows, it can't see. When it rains, it can't see the road.
yeah.
It is confused by things like cones in front of things. I mean,
It's not a person. Just drive your car, people.
Yeah. And there's a lot of great safety technology that helps everything, right? All our cars now, all the new cars have things to help us stop, emergency brake, pedestrian stuff. That is all great.
Yeah.
Keep improving that. But I don't want something to drive me to work. Yeah, I just don't.
I like driving.
I like driving.
I like riding.
Like
I like operating the vehicle. This is, it's our culture.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
Mongolians are horse people, Americans are car people. Or internal combustion people, whatever.
Yeah. So we're going to do something with you that we've never done with anybody before.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, we're going to try a lightning round.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can, maybe do it back to us. We've never done it either, so.
Well, you've already answered one of these, so we're going to move on. Oh, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the lightning round. I've literally wanted to do that since my first cup of coffee. So what is the best biker name that you've ever heard? Because everybody's got a biker name. It's like we're on Permanent Burning Man or something.
Cupcake.
Cupcake, male or female?
Male.
Yes.
That's
you
a good
know
one.
who you are.
Do you know the story behind that name?
Yes, I do.
Oh, learn it.
All right, I want to hear it.
So it was a Mardi Gras party at Mile High Parker, and they were serving cupcakes, and they had the little king babies or whatever, like
Oh,
king
yeah,
cake.
king babies.
Yeah. So they had pigs, little pigs, hogs, and certain cupcakes had the plastic hogs in them, and if you got one with a hog in it, you got a door prize. And so, Cupcake.
You almost said his real name.
I know.
yeah, that's right.
He allegedly ate like
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly ate like 8 cupcakes, which didn't really happen, but all the girls kept giving.
Oh, is he the one putting the finger in trying to feel for the pig?
The girls were doing it. They were, giving him the cupcakes when they figured out there wasn't a pig in it. They were giving them all to him,
hilarious.
and he didn't end up eating all 8 of them. But that's because nicknames pick you don't get to pick them.
Yes,
so
it is true.
He was since then known as Cupcake.
Nice, I like that.
So you've written a lot. We've talked about a good bit of that. Everyone's got a dream ride that they haven't accomplished yet. Whenever you daydream about, man, I can't wait till I get to go ride in this area.
I'd love to do the bridges down in Key West on a motorcycle.
Just did that last week before last. You do want to go.
Yeah, just with the water and
especially when you get further south.
Yeah.
Right?
What influences that choice? Have you seen people riding in that area, or you're just that familiar with it? Have you been to Key West before?
I have not.
Never?
So
Cool.
it's definitely on the bucket list.
Let me tell you where you start your journey. You start your journey at downtown Card Sound. There is no downtown Card Sound. It is a bar. It's called Alabama Jack's.
Mm-hmm.
It's at the top of the Keys, and that's where you start your ride. And it's a famous biker bar. And on Sundays, they have cloggers and the whole thing. And I've been going to that bar since I was like 12.
Wow.
And it's one of my favorite bars in the whole world. Yeah. And it's on the water.
Well, everything's on the water.
Yeah, this in particular,
You got the Gulf of Mexico on this side. And you got the Atlantic Ocean on that side.
Jimmy Buffett rose from the dead to tweet the other day, it should be the Gulf of Margaritaville. Yeah, exactly.
That's more appropriate.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, when you go down there, you're going to have such a great time. The ride is straight, but there's something to it, especially when you get to 7 Mile.
Yep.
See the tree Fred. You'll know, there's a tree that started as a bush on the bridge that's no longer in use, the one that you've seen in True Lies, with the cars driving off the end and all that. And it has grown into a 40-foot tall tree, and they've named it Fred.
Cool.
So there's all these quirky local things like that there that are really, really cool.
We so you've seen what you say with True Lies, the original bridge used to be train tracks. And so my family used to go to Florida Keys when we were little, and we would have a GMC motorhome, and some other friends, we'd caravan down to the Keys. We're going over this bridge. You got to pull in the mirrors because tractor trailers are coming too. And I mean, like this close.
Oh, they're coming.
And we had stopped at some RV place, camped the night before, and we had one of those rooftop things where you put clothes and stuff, like a bin or whatever. I forgot to close it, and we get these honking. Clothes are coming out of it on the 7 Mile original bridge.
Yard sale.
And
you ain't stopping on that bridge.
We stopped on the bridge.
Oh my God.
Out of your mind.
No, we stopped on the bridge.
Crazy.
That was
People
fast.
helped grab stuff. Shit was in the water, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I climb up to the top and log it down because I think it was probably 10. Right?
That's funny.
And so for the rest of the time, y'all were those people.
We were those people. Yeah. Whoever was behind us is always going to remember those dipshits ahead of them.
Remember that time? Yeah.
Remember that time? Those RV idiots? Yeah.
I always like asking people what their first job was. Like, what was your first actual job?
My first paying job, I babysat, but I don't count that. That the government knew about. I was a part-time checker in a mom and pop grocery store in Muscatine, Iowa. When I was like 15, I started working there. I worked there for a couple years, and that was back when they paid you cash, and you had to calculate the change. Yeah, it didn't tell you what the change
Back
was.
when
You had to do math. The original math.
Yeah, the original math. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Really quick, another funny story. So I love to see live comedy, and I saw Kathleen Madigan, and she had George Wallace do the warm-up, and I'm there with my two boys who you've met, and George Wallace has this bit on being able to count, and so he sees my son Michael, who at the time is 17 years old.
Okay.
And he's like, and take this young man right here. What are you, 12? And he's like, I am 17. And he starts the whole bit. I mean, I think my other son and I, we are in tears.
Crying, yeah.
Crying, laughing so hard that George Wallace, one of the greats, is, totally,
ripping on him, yeah.
ripping on him. It's so funny.
That's
a
fun.
good moment.
Yeah, it was a
I
good
can
moment.
always appreciate being the butt of someone's joke.
Yeah.
It's kind of my career, really, is to be a walking butt of a joke. Okay, I have another question for you.
Okay.
Deep dish or New York style?
Deep dish.
Well, that was fast.
Yeah.
That was
So
fast.
what's your favorite deep dish then? Do you have one?
Well, we do like Papa Murphy's stuffed pizza. That's
Papa
really
Murphy's
good.
is good stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I also am a deep dish person. I mean, I like all pizza.
Yeah.
But when you can take a slice and make that a meal, and you just
One
happen
slice,
to eat
yeah.
like 2 more full meals, I
Yeah.
mean, it is the best sleeping that I think I've
that's right.
minus Thanksgiving.
Carb overload.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. So which one are you? Are you a New York slice or are you?
I grew up New York slice. I love Sicilian, which would be a deep dish, but I really love Neapolitan. Yeah, that's right. Neapolitan. And Marco's Cold Fire Pizza. That's the best pizza in town. That's my hands down.
Here?
Yes.
I need to go there.
Yeah, it's,
oh wait, no, I've been there.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
over on
Exactly. We've
the
been there
street.
together, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, on Larimer. Like
Larimer,
20-something at Larimer.
That is a really good place.
It is so good. Yeah.
My favorite deep dish is Lou Malnati's in Chicago.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Oh, well, that's, yeah.
I literally went there, left the airport. I had a connection that was like 4 hours later.
Yeah.
Left the airport and went, and you can't order a slice. You have to order like a personal pizza. You are not eating that. Like personal what? Personal group of 4?
Yeah.
But I ate that and went straight to the airport, and I was
Yeah.
so happy. That was a really good moment for me.
Nice.
Glad I could share.
Yes.
My
Yeah.
cholesterol hates it, but my mouth was very happy.
Yeah.
So what is your preference of pickle? Sweet or dill?
Dill, definitely. My grandmother used to make her own homemade dill pickles, and they were the best. Haven't had any as good as that since she died. So
I like the sweet spicy.
See, like that's 2 hits for you today.
I'm ruining
Can
everything.
ham and sweet pickles. Like
I said
I can
it's
trust
spicy.
you. I don't know. Maybe I need to sit
Or
over
the
there.
spicy. Yeah, that's right. It's on the other side. That's right.
At least it's spicy.
It's
though.
spicy.
Yeah.
I mean, like we're still on the same team.
Right.
We're just sitting on different ends of the bench.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
right, that's
Like,
right.
But
Yeah.
it's acceptable. I'll allow it.
Yeah, and you?
Oh, I mean, dill all day.
Dill, yeah.
Spicy dill if I got an option.
yeah, that would
Yeah,
be good.
spicy dill is really good.
Especially
too.
when
Great.
people are home jarring. Like I grew
Yes.
up. So I grew up. I got older in my younger years. And we canned every single season. We like, especially at the family property in Mississippi, like our garden was an acre, and it was
Yeah.
everything.
Nice.
And we had our own little cotton. We had peanuts. We had eggplants. We had
Very
corn.
cool.
We had everything in the middle. We had blueberry bushes, and a small orchard for jams and jellies and all stuff like that. And man, when spring rolled around and all the fresh stuff was happening, it was the best. And I feel like every time I get like a real, like bespoke dill pickle, it's like all of that happening at once.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. That's
It
right.
takes you right
somebody's
back.
grandmama's telling everybody what to do.
Yeah.
And it's going to taste so good. Thank you to somebody's grandmama.
One last shout out for great homemade pickled stuff is in Fair Play, actually in Alma. This little fresh fruit stand pops up, and she makes all of it over the winter with the fresh stuff. And I have like the whole top shelf of my refrigerator is stocked with all her spicy, sweet, and all the different veggies and like everything. And it's so good.
I love it. Walk into
so
a store
good.
and they've got pickled okra and pickled
all the things.
Pickled pickles.
Yeah, exactly.
Pickleators. I don't know, all the pickled stuff. It's always a good idea.
Yeah. So we've been having a huge amount of fun. Once again, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
We're very proud of you. This went by super fast.
Yeah, it was because it's called fun, Scott.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot that's what that is.
We're actually here to do that.
Yeah.
There's also a motorcycle show going on.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
if you're watching this and you see some of the footage of everything going on behind us, just join us next time. Colorado Motorcycle Expo is the first real motorcycle event of the entire season. This like kind of kicks everything off. Rider Justice is always here. We're very blessed to have you as a guest. It's really cool to know you. I've learned a lot today. Put your damn phones down, y'all.
Put them down.
Another episode of Chasing the Ride with Rider Justice.